Question 1. Do you know your exact monthly expenses? In most cases, you don't. You might be able to list the main categories: rent, food, transport, but you likely don't have a precise total. This creates a structural problem. If you don't know the exact number, you cannot accurately determine how much money remains after expenses or how much you can realistically save. For example, if your income is $4,000 and you assume your expenses are around $3,000, it seems like you have $1,000 available. But when you actually track everything, subscriptions, small purchases, irregular costs, you may find that your real expenses are closer to $3,400. That difference directly reduces your ability to build savings. The issue is not spending itself. The issue is the lack of precise data. The practical step is straightforward. Track every expense for the next 30 days and calculate your real monthly average. Without this number, you are not managing your finances, you are estimating them. Question 2. Do you have a clear financial goal with a specific number and a defined timeline? Not a general idea like save more, but a concrete target. If your goal is not quantified, your progress cannot be measured. Without a number and a deadline, saving becomes open-ended and decisions lose direction. For example, saying I want to build savings does not define how much is enough or by when. In contrast, a goal like accumulate $50,000 in 5 years creates a clear requirement. That target translates into approximately $830 per month, assuming no investment return. This changes behavior. Instead of saving randomly, you now compare your actual contributions to a required monthly amount. Without this structure, it is easy to underestimate what is needed. Many people believe they are making progress simply because they are saving something, but the numbers may not align with the outcome they expect. The practical step is to define one primary financial goal with a specific amount and time frame, then calculate the required monthly contribution. Question 3. Are your savings automated or do they depend on your decisions each month? If you manually decide whether to save, the outcome will vary. Expenses, unexpected costs, or simple inattention can reduce or eliminate contributions. Over time, this creates inconsistency, and inconsistency reduces total accumulation. For example, if you plan to save $600 per month but rely on manual transfers, some months you may contribute less or nothing. Over a year, this can reduce your total savings by several $1,000s. Automation removes this variability. When a fixed amount is transferred immediately after income is received, saving becomes a default process rather than a decision. The difference is not behavioral discipline, it is system design. The practical step is to set up an automatic transfer on the same day your income arrives. This ensures that saving happens before spending, not after. Question 4. How many months can you cover your expenses without income? This is a direct measure of financial stability. If your reserves cover only 1 month or less, any disruption in income immediately creates pressure. If you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, you have time to adjust without changing core financial decisions. For example, if your monthly expenses are $3,500, a 3-month reserve requires $10,500. Without this buffer, even a short interruption forces you to reduce spending abruptly or rely on debt. The issue is not hypothetical risk, it is the absence of a defined safety margin. The practical step is to calculate your exact monthly expenses and build a reserve equal to at least 3 to 6 months. This fund should remain liquid and separate from long-term investments. Question 5. Are your savings growing faster than your expenses? If your income increases but your expenses grow at the same or higher rate, your financial position does not improve. In that case, higher earnings do not translate into higher net worth. For example, if your income rises from $4,000 to $5,000, but your expenses increase from $3,200 to $4,300. Your capacity to save changes only slightly. In some cases, it may not improve at all. This pattern is not always obvious because the increase in lifestyle feels justified. However, over time, it limits capital accumulation. The key metric is not income growth alone, but the gap between income and expenses. The practical step is to track both variables over time and ensure that savings increase proportionally faster than expenses. Question 6. Do you know your current net worth? Net worth is the difference between what you own and what you owe. This includes savings, investments, and assets, minus any debts or liabilities. Without this number, you don't have a clear view of your financial position. For example, you may have $20,000 in savings, but if you also have $15,000 in debt, your net worth is only $5,000. Focusing only on one side creates a distorted picture. This matters because progress should be measured in net terms, not in isolated accounts. An increase in savings does not necessarily mean improvement if liabilities are growing at the same time. The practical step is to calculate your net worth regularly, at least once every 3 to 6 months. Track both assets and liabilities in one place to see the full picture. Question 7. Do you invest regularly or only occasionally? If your investing depends on timing, spare cash, or market conditions, the result will be inconsistent. Over time, this reduces total contributions and limits the effect of compounding. For example, investing $500 every month for 10 years creates a predictable accumulation. Investing $2,000 a few times per year, irregularly, often results in a lower total, not because of returns, but because contributions are inconsistent. The key factor is frequency, not timing. Regular investing converts a variable behavior into a fixed process. It ensures that capital is deployed continuously, regardless of short-term conditions. The practical step is to set a fixed monthly investment amount and automate it. Consistency over time has a greater impact than trying to choose the right moment. Question 8. Can you explain your financial system in 1 minute? If you cannot clearly describe how your money flows, from income to expenses, savings, and investments, your decisions are likely fragmented. In that case, each action is separate, not part of a structured process. For example, a simple system can be described as income received to fixed percentage, saved to expenses covered to remaining amount allocated. This creates clarity and consistency. Without this structure, decisions depend on context. You may save 1 month, spend more the next, and invest irregularly. Over time, this leads to unstable results. The issue is not lack of effort. It is lack of a defined framework. The practical step is to map your financial flow in simple terms. If you can't explain it clearly, it likely needs to be simplified and structured. Question 9. What will your financial position look like in 5 years if nothing changes? Your current behavior already defines your future trajectory. If you save $300 per month today, you will likely continue at a similar level unless you change the system. Over 5 years, that results in $18,000 before any returns. If your expenses are increasing at the same time, the net effect may be minimal. In some cases, your financial position may not improve despite consistent effort. This question is not about prediction, it is about projection based on current inputs. The practical step is to calculate your expected outcome using your current saving rate and compare it to your financial goals. If there is a gap, it must be addressed now, not later. If you go through these questions carefully, a pattern becomes clear. Financial control is not determined by income level or isolated decisions. It is defined by whether your system is measurable, consistent, and structured. If you don't know your exact expenses, you are estimating. If your savings are not automated, they are unstable. If you cannot project your position 5 years ahead, your current actions are not aligned with a defined outcome. Each of these points is not a separate issue. They are parts of the same system. The practical takeaway is straightforward. You don't need to change everything at once. You need to identify where your system is undefined or inconsistent and fix the specific part. Define your exact expense level. Build a basic reserve. Automate contributions. Track your net worth. Ensure your savings grow faster than your spending. Once these elements are in place, results become predictable. Not immediate, but measurable. At that point, your financial situation is no longer based on assumptions. It becomes a function of clear inputs and time.